Greetings and salutations, my friends. Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing finally a Q&A, which I haven't done for God knows how many years. I've not just picked and choose the easy ones, all right? There's some big, hard-hitting questions here. Also, a variety of questions, FM, life, relationship, all sorts of stuff. So let's just get straight into it. Hey, Loki, me and the girlfriend are looking into getting a dog. A shelter dog, obviously, but would you have any tips or recommendations on what to look for or which dog to choose? Much love. Right, good question, very good question. Let me sort of give you two examples. Sometimes you might have a litter of puppies, maybe an unwanted pregnancy and the litter's been dumped off at a shelter or something, and there's 5 dogs there. I would always recommend viewing them from a distance. Don't immediately just approach them and sort of see which one approaches you and all that sort of stuff. But if you watch them for a bit, just to see how calm, just to see the sort of body language and stuff. But when you do go up to them, generally speaking, very generally, because you get the classic thing of people going, that puppy, it chose me. It chose me. Like, try and put that aside and just look. Generally speaking, you don't want the dog that first approaches the cage to greet you or to check you out, to sniff you or whatever. You also don't want the one that's hidden away at the back, the sort of thing that people feel sorry for and immediately go for. Generally speaking, and this is, like I said, very different for every dog, but just a general rule, is that the ones that approach you are more likely to be a bit over the top, boisterous, perhaps aggressive or whatever like that, because they're the sort of dog that's checking you out. They're the sort of bravest and or stupidest. So you want to go for the sort of middle pack one. Don't do the whole, that puppy chose me. I've just realised I'm going to spend about 6 hours on each question. This is not going to go well. And also, the hardest thing, because whenever you go to a shelter, I'm sure everybody's felt this, you feel like you must try and rescue, you want all the dogs, every dog, go to it, rescue it, they all need help, etc., etc. It's really hard to get that out of your system. What I would suggest to do is go to, say, one shelter that's got maybe, 20 dogs, have a look round, meet the dogs, check the dogs out, make a short list. Even if you think you found one that you really, really like, go to another shelter, go to another place, have a look round, sleep on it. That's the sort of big thing, because it's so easy just to get caught up in this, this dog looks so sad, we need to help it and stuff. It's one extra day. Make sure, for the dog's benefit just as much as yours, that you take the time to go have a look, go home, talk with your partner, chat it out, pros and cons, be quite analytical about it. But overall, and also make sure you go to the shelters that have a sort of returns policy. I know that sounds cold for a dog, but also it just might not work out, and it's better for the dog and for you if you find the right dog. You don't want them dumped, back in a shelter 6 months' time. It's much better to have a place that you can just go, actually, no, this didn't work out for whatever reason. They can then rehome the dog. You can find the right dog. So have one that's got a good policy as well. But I hope that helps a little bit. Okay, on to the next one. Hi, Loki. Will the dog project get its own... They're not all dog-related, by the way. I promise. Will the dog project get its own YouTube channel as well? Yes. As soon as we've moved into the house, the whole pet... It's not just dogs, it'll be pets. Depending on the land, it might even be other animals as well, but it will have its own, because it needs to be funded, because it's going to be ridiculously expensive. It will have its own channel where all the money that makes goes towards the dogs and stuff. So yeah, whole new project. Dave, if you could get a hug from one celebrity, Henry Cavill. He's my man crush. He's a big, strong fella. Imagine those big, strong arms wrapped around you. That would be a good hug, right? Easy. And he loves Warhammer, so, and he's the Witcher, and he's Superman. I hugged Superman. There's so many good stories that come from that. Which celeb, if they tried to hug you, would you refuse? There's quite a lot, to be honest. Out of the least, like somebody, Donald Trump. Like, imagine if he tried to... Oh, no, it would be creepy, wouldn't it? I'd feel sick. We'll go with Donald Trump. Emma Kane, never heard of her. My question is, this is my fiance, can we get another cat or dog? Not right now, okay? No, not until we've got the house. Fire Gus Jr. says, I was watching the 2017 Journeyman. By any chance, did real-life Harry Owen know about his starring role? And if so, what was his reaction to it? Yes, and not... he's a young guy, at uni, right? He didn't really embrace it. I think he just felt it was really weird, and he turns out he's a bit of a dickhead. So we moved on quickly from getting him involved. Let's just leave it there. James Starling, if you had to live off one drink and one food for the rest of your life, what would you choose? Drink's easy. It's tea, obviously. PG tips. That's factual. Food though, that's a lot harder. I might go something simple, a base food like a pasta, because then you can just do stuff with it to make it different. I'm gonna go pasta. I'm confident in that answer. Pasta. David Logan, any advice on not being able to get into any save? I've started on FM23, just not feeling anything. Started a Villa one always, a Wrexham one, and a Journeyman one. Can't get into any of them. Do I go back to FM22 for a bit? That's a very, very common question with Football Manager. I think we've all had that problem at least one time, where you just not feeling it. I'm not sure if going back to FM22 is going to help, unless you have a save that you really loved. Maybe you just want to continue that. But if you were starting a new save, it's not really that important. I think sometimes it's a case of there's no save that's going to grab you just because you're not in the right mindset. So maybe just take a break. I always found that just taking a bit of a break from Football Manager helped. And then when you got back into it, you're just so excited to play that everyone is exciting. So maybe that's the case. If not, I can't really make any suggestions because everybody's different. I think a journeyman, like you're saying, you gave it a go, is maybe have a journeyman in a particular region or country that you're interested in. Maybe it's the UK or Europe or whatever you want to do. Because then at least you get to experience some clubs. And then if you did find one that you really liked, you could then just jump all in onto it and just carry on and just forget moving. But other than that, maybe just take a break. Maybe play a bit of FIFA. No, don't play FIFA. That's a terrible idea. Right. Shiraz, have you ever got bored of a YouTube Twitch save but kept doing it until completion to avoid disappointing the audience? No. Can hand on heart say no, because I will just stop. Even if I knew I was going to get a bit of hate for it or something. And maybe if I was halfway through the final season and I was going, okay, I'm kind of done with this, I might just finish the season. But I would never... I've always found that when I ever watched a Football Manager guy, or even any gaming YouTuber, I watch a ton of YouTube, I always can tell if they're not really into it. I'm sure you can as well. And I've always thought that if I'm not enjoying the save that I'm doing, then people aren't going to enjoy watching it. People are going to notice that I'm not really that bothered or whatever. That's one of the good things about doing things like the Journeyman, because if there's a club that you're not really enjoying, I can just bail on it and go, okay, let's just move on to the next one. So no, definitely not. I can see why people feel the need to do it, but I've never been that much into. Once I got to a certain size, I was just comfortable, and I'd never needed to worry about views and stuff. This is getting a ton of views, so I've got to continue it. It's a horrible position. I don't envy people that get in that position, but no, I always vowed to myself if I wasn't enjoying something, I just wouldn't do it. So yeah, simple for me. Andy asks, out of all the saves on FM over the years, which one has been your absolute favourite and for what reason? FM17 Journeyman. I think it was the first proper save I did on YouTube. I gained a ton of subscribers from it, and therefore was getting loads of comments on each video and people being excited. My favourite thing about Football Manager is random rules and going to places that I've never managed in and trying to work out what the hell's going on, working out what quality of player I need to sign or who can I sign, what are their regulations and weird league rules and stuff, and quite often getting tripped up in that regard. But yeah, the FM17 Journeyman was just... all the Journeymans I enjoy, it's just my favourite type of save. It's weird because before YouTube, never did a Journeyman. I was always a one-club man. Take a small team, make them big. That was my whole thing. But yeah, the Journeymans are just the best. Uranus. Is it difficult getting stuff sent to Northern Ireland as opposed to the mainland? Weirdly, yes. More recently, yes. Especially for Amazon and stuff. I tried to buy... I know this is crazy and dangerous. I tried to buy some sink unblocker. You just pour down your sink because this old house is falling apart and the pipes are all ancient and stuff and it gets a bit clogged. So I thought, No, Amazon won't ship it to Northern Ireland, that dangerous material. I couldn't buy kitchen knives on Amazon without proving who I am, which took me through a process where it wouldn't let me prove who I am. So I just can't buy knives, like a kitchen set of knives, a bit of cutlery. So there is random weird things that don't ship to Northern Ireland, which is very annoying. Craig Cochran says, I've recently started streaming FM. Do you think Twitch is the best platform to start? And what is your thoughts on multi-streaming? So, congratulations on starting streaming. It's always a big step. It's always a nervy step. So, fair play to you for taking that jump. It depends what you want to do long term. Like, if you just want to be a streamer, I still think Twitch is probably the best place for that. YouTube can't quite make up its mind what it wants to do. It's the discoverability is like weird. I know Twitch is terrible, but the problem with Twitch is, back when I started streaming Football Manager, there was maybe like you'd go on and you'd see 5 people streaming it, so you knew that you were always going to be like in that, front line, the first 2 lines of the sort of search, so people could still find you. And to be fair, even though there's a lot more now, it's still pretty easy to be on that sort of front page or whatever, or the top 10 guys and stuff like that. So I still think Twitch is better for that regard. If you really want to sort of maybe, if you're not just doing it as a hobby and you may be thinking of you wanting to go full-time one day as a Twitch streamer, then I still would suggest creating a YouTube channel and making content for it, or making a TikTok account, or even Instagram or whatever, or doing stuff on Twitter and sending it over to your Twitch. I still think that's the best way. I still think the best way to grow on Twitch, unless you're big already, is to just make content on all the other platforms and send them to your Twitch. So, but if you're just doing it as a hobby and stuff, yeah, Twitch is fine. It's still great. I know everybody was complaining about the 70-30 split that then got changed to 50-50, but that was only for the giant ones anyway. I never got 70-30. I was always I've always been on 50-50, so it didn't affect me. And for the time being, I still think Twitch is the best platform overall. Toby Bradshaw asks, how's the Warhammer collection doing? It's not right now. Like I bought some. For those that don't know, I've been collecting Games Workshop on and off since I was about 10.5 years old. It's been a sort of on and off relationship since then. And I spent, when I was my collection at about, 20, 25 years old, was probably in the region of 15 to 20 grand's worth of plastic crack and metal stuff and figures and everything. And then it was at my dad's house, and then we had a massive falling out, and then I've never spoken to him again, and that has disappeared. So therefore I had nothing. I recently, like a few months ago, just sort of started getting a little bit back into it, and I bought some orcs for Warhammer 40k, like the Start Collecting box. And I haven't bought anything since, just because I'm trying to save as much money as possible, and I can't be wasting money on plastic but it's a constant. It's an addiction. Once you're in, that's why they call it plastic crack. It's once you're in, there's always like, what about this shiny new thing? Oh, look, new rules for this game you like and stuff like that. However, if they released a More Time, which is a boxed game they did a while ago, if they released a new More Time, I'd treat myself to that. But yeah, once I get the house, I'd like to start collecting properly, and I'd like to invite a few friends round and have gaming days and stuff. I'd love to do that. That would be amazing. Another thing that's sort of stopped me collecting is I just don't have any mates. I know, sad. Real life friends and stuff like that, so I can never play the game. So that sort of limits why I collect and stuff. I did try to get the missus to gauge the interest, which she'll play it because she's a sweetheart, and she'll just, because I love it so much and stuff. But yeah, the interest is not there. So maybe one day when we get the house sorted out, I might start building a little collection. Stephen asks, is there a team you've managed on any German that you still follow today, or a club you've been sacked from that you hold a grudge against? The sacked from is easy. It's Monza. Just arseholes. And the team... Yes, I'm still in touch. I still sort of speak to people on Twitter and stuff from Fort William and Basingstoke especially. They're the sort of main two. I follow lots of them just to see what they're up to and everything, but they're the main two. Like, I'm always... It's nice to have I'm a Liverpool supporter first, but I have like a selection of 5 to 10 clubs that I always sort of keep an eye on now. That's one of the glorious things about Football Manager is that you gain affiliations with clubs that you'd never even heard of before, and now you're a big fan of. It's great. Adam Passmore says, you've been transported back in time to find yourself with a younger Loki who has just finished his first YouTube video. What advice, if any, would you give him? Good question. I don't honestly think I would, because I'm quite happy with how things have turned out, to be honest, and I'm sure I've made mistakes along the way. There was one day where I published 17 videos in one day, and that was probably a mistake. I lost lots of... and then when Football Manager to do with Warhammer, that probably wasn't an ideal situation. But not really, because I've always kept to the mantra that I had at the start, which was make sure you're enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, don't do it. Like, if there's a save you're not enjoying, don't do it, as we spoke about before. So just enjoy it. Never forget how lucky you are. That's what I'd say. I'd just say never forget how incredibly privileged and lucky you are to be in that position that that you can call this your job. That's the only thing. Like, don't be a dickhead. Don't become a dickhead. And remember how lucky you always are. Right. Damon says, I'll be honest, I miss the streams and the journeyman stuff. How are you getting near your goal when you're in a house? Lucky for you, the journeyman and the streams are back. The streams will be back shortly as well. I'm just sort of chilling a little bit this week because my voice is still a bit all over the place. But yeah, other than that, all good. So the house is going fine. The market's really weird at the moment. Obviously, we're entering a recession. Interest rates are skyrocketed, so mortgages are ridiculous. So bigger deposits are generally needed because mortgages are so much more. And also, I had money invested at the time, and that all investments, no matter who you were invested in, if you had investments for the last year and a half, 2 years, you've lost money. So that took a dent as well. So we're getting there. Like, I think, another, if the perfect house came up now, I could maybe squeeze together the money now. Like, I've got a nephew that maybe could lend me some money and to add to my deposit and stuff. I might be able to squeeze it. Like, I look every day at the housing market just to see if there's anything interesting that comes on. And we're sort of, it's possible if it comes up, I might be able to squeeze it. So yeah, getting there. But realistically, I'd still like to save up another like 10,000-15,000 to give ourselves a bit of a time. And also, it's just a really bad time to buy houses at the moment. I think they're going to drop more in the next 12 months, maybe 3 to 5%. House prices will go down in my estimation. And we need to see a reduction of the interest rates and stuff, so the mortgages are a bit more affordable and they'll be lending more and stuff like that. So we're getting there. The Veggie Burger says, roughly how many hours do you play in real time that goes into one video? The actual video, not so much itself. Like, let's say an average video is like 2 games. It's pretty much that. It's so I record for it's probably an hour's recording, and then I just get rid of the beginning and the I top and tail it, and then get rid of the chunk in the middle that's just getting through the week and stuff. So it's like maybe an hour to record, and then maybe, and on average, a couple of hours of just me playing, getting to the next game. Unless it's a January transfer window, might take me 4 or 5 hours. A summer window might take me 10 hours or something to do as well. So but generally, when I record, I like to, as you guys know, I like to edit as little as possible and make sure that it's just a chill, relaxed video, so there's no tons of edits and stuff like that in. So not too bad. Josh Sam, easy question. What brings you joy? Right now, what brings me joy is my doggies, my amazing doggies. Always. You can't be in a bad mood when you wake up and there's 3 dogs wanting to give you cuddles, mainly because they want breakfast, but you can pretend it's because they love you. So that's why I don't think I could ever be depressed, because those dogs would not let me. I'm not even allowed to get angry at the football anymore, because Freya gets really upset and she comes to cuddle me and she feels terrible for me and she's really empathic, and I'm like, no, it's just the football. I'm just angry at the offside. And so therefore I've had to chill out on that front as well, which is actually probably quite handy. So I'm not, too bothered about how badly Liverpool are doing at the moment. alongside that, my incredible fiance, having found someone in life that is like you and sees the world as you do and wants the same things, like, let's just say I was single and I randomly met a woman and I was like, by the way, just so you know, I've got 3 dogs. I want more dogs. I want lots of animals. I want to rescue animals. I want to start an animal charity and stuff. A lot of people are going to be put off by that. Even if they like dogs, that might be a bit much. But she is exactly the same as me, but she loves dogs, but she's a cat lady. She's a crazy cat lady, and she already does rescuing and fostering for cats and works with rescues and stuff. So just finding, and she's gorgeous and amazing and funny, and having found someone to spend the rest of my life with, knowing for certainty that is the one, is like the best feeling in the world. Other than the sort of big things, good wank always brings you joy, right? If you're in the right frame, so you don't want to be sad wank, like a crying wank's never a good thing. Watching YouTube, seeing people I admire on YouTube do well, like I like Joe Tomlinson and James Lawrence Olcott and stuff, and seeing them, doing well in the football space is that definitely brings me joy and stuff like that. And knowing how lucky I am to have this crazy stupid job, where I get to talk to you lot, that brings me joy. As always, I've never found a career before. I've never had a job that I even remotely liked. It was always, like many of us, have a job that's 9 to 5, so you can just get money and then you can enjoy the weekend sort of thing. I get to enjoy my week as well, which is incredible. Right. Michael Miles, how did you start supporting Liverpool rather than Bournemouth? Not a knock, just curious. Fair question. I've spoken about this before, but I'll give you a quick recap. When I started getting into football, I was a late bloomer in football, if you like, but it wasn't until I was really in sort of junior school that none of my family were into football, so I didn't have like an uncle or a dad or a brother that took me to football matches. Nobody was that bothered about football, so I didn't get given a club. So I was like, okay, it wasn't until I started growing up a bit and was at school and was talking to my mates at school and they're all into football that I got into football. And then back in my day, there wasn't loads of football on telly, right? You'd have match of the day. That would be pretty much it, some FA Cup stuff. So my only access to football was match of the day. And back when I started liking football, Liverpool were a big team. And so they were on match of the day more, as they didn't show every game like they do now, match of the day. It was just like a game or two. And I found I'm sure we've all had this, a player that you sort of fell in love with and were like, this is my favourite player. You get shirts with his name on the back, or you pretend to be him at school. Mine was John Barnes. And so he was my route into Liverpool. I started watching Liverpool match of the day quite a lot. Thought John Barnes was just the best player I'd ever seen, and therefore Liverpool became my thing. So yeah, it was just because I didn't have that family influence on me telling me to support, this is our team, I'm going to take you to a game, because otherwise it probably would have been Bournemouth, because that would have been my local team. But yeah, so that's how I ended up at Liverpool. Ironically, so you could say I was like a glory hunter plastic fan, but ironically, as soon as I was at the age that I started supporting football, that is when they had their 30-year lean spell. So that was good. Good timing. Right, one more question. Big one. Hugo. Loki, I need a girlfriend. How do I do it without leaving the house? Good question, Hugo. What you need to do is start a minorly successful YouTube channel, okay, in which people will watch you, okay? And then what you need to do is have somebody watch you that also has a girlfriend that sort of semi-watches you vicariously because their partner is watching you, and then break up, and then the girl then messages you. I know it seems convoluted, right? It seems long-winded, but it works, Then have the girl message you, and then you fall in love and live happily ever after. So, all you need to do, you could skip a step, like if you maybe start a YouTube channel that's not 99% male dominated. Maybe choose a YouTube channel that's maybe has more women that watch, so then you can cut out the rest of it and just, you know, like that. So simple, really. There you go. Easy. Right, thank you very much for everybody. Sorry I didn't get around to all the questions. I didn't want it to be this 6-hour video, but I hope I answered a few ones and stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you all had a good New Year and all that good stuff. I know it's like that, you know, it's quite like weeks after New Year at this point, but that's fine. It's fine. You know, we live on our own time frames here. I'm old. Time's different. But thank you very much for watching, as always. Thank you for the support, as always. You are all incredible. You all bring me joy. Referencing, see, previous question like that. Clever, innit? Right, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. If you'd like a more regular Q&A and want some random questions answered, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And then if there's enough, I'll do another one. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.